So it's day one aboard the boat at the new spot for her, and I'm just sort of assessing what's going on here and what I need to do. I think one of the first jobs is going to be to get this head out of here and the holding tank, and then we'll just start from new on that. I'm going to try taking the holding tank, or at least start to take the holding tank out, and the first step in doing so will be to figure out how exactly it's held in. When the boat was transported, some material came out of the tank, which is rather unpleasant. So I figured that's the first thing to do, because I don't want something hanging around like that in here. I want everything clean. We're going to clean the boat out completely, but that's certainly the first step. So there's a strange arrangement in the holding tank system. There's the head, there's the tank, but actually there's two of them, one on top of the other. Here's the first day's progress report. The head needs to be removed. I haven't got what I need to take that out because it's kind of full of stuff, as I said before. But I removed everything up here. And you can see the tank connections right there. I took the board down that was right in the front, and it makes a big difference. It's a small area, but it makes that area usable as a berth. If we angle it, it'll be great. I unscrewed this piece here, but it seems to be attached. Maybe it was glued and screwed. So we'll have to get that out of there. And that's a tomorrow job. But these tanks are an unpleasant job, which I'm not looking forward to at all. But it's progress, and I'm quite pleased with what I see. Anyways, that's day one. So day two progress. Removed the holding tanks from the V-berth. They're gone. It wasn't a terrible job. Well, it wasn't a great job, but it wasn't as terrible as it could have been. I've also removed the boards from where the chain goes through. I'm going to try to reroute that chain so it's not in the V-berth, so it's sort of forward and then comes back. And we'll put a berth along the one side. It should be like between a twin and a double, and then a small seat on the starboard side. The head, not a lot of progress here. Just removed the toilet itself. That's now gone. So destruction has begun, and we're just sort of seeing where we're at as far as how to put it all back. Basically, the head, I'm going to change around a little bit. We're going to move that countertop so it's along the forward side of the boat, and then hopefully give us enough room for a shower in there, which would be nice. We'll see what happens once we remove that cabinet and how much space we gain. But that's the plan. This cabinet over here will remain more or less the same, maybe different aesthetically, but that's about it. And of course the floor we're going to change. But so far so good. So today is day 3 at the boat, and we've just had a big thunderstorm and all the hatches are leaking. I covered up the lenses earlier, hoping that was just the lenses that were leaking, but no, they all need to be rebedded. So that's another job. For now, perhaps we'll make covers for them, and I've started working a little bit more on the head. I took the cabinet doors out, and working at the tile that's along the back of the sink, which is all glass tile, which is A bit of a pain, but anyways, it's another step in the right direction, I suppose. And I got all the black tile off there. It's not terrible, but it's not easy either. So when we go to get all the rest of this tile off, it's going to be time consuming. But anyway, the countertop, the tile is off the countertop, and next we'll try and cut out the cabinet. So here's the final results of today's efforts. There's nothing left in the head. You can see we've gained quite a bit of space. The issue is the head and how far we can push it back. The further we can push it back, the better off we'll be. There's quite a bit of room on this side, less of course towards the bow. The counter I think would be, like I said, better along towards the bow, and that'll allow us to put the head over here. Obviously we're going to have a step to put the head on, and then that. We'll put cabinetry back behind the way it was. Sink over there, and sort of integrated. You can see some of the tiles that I've pulled off. They aren't stuck on very well, fortunately, so that's a good thing. But an integrated shower in the head. Not as nice as a separate one, but we only have the space we have. So I ground all that down. Happening. That's fine. I've been working on the head to some degree, just sort of mocking it up. The step there is where the head's going to go. Although in that position where it is right there is too high. It would make the head not usable. So there's two options: either bring the head further forward, or make a step that you could stand on to get on and off the head. And I bit the bullet on a new head. I got a new brand new quiet flush head, and I picked that up today in Toronto. So I figured I may as well bite the bullet on it, and then I know what I've got to deal with. I know it's a brand new head, and it should be dependable for one thing, but also as far as the installation is concerned, I know exactly where I want to position it. So everything's in a bit of a disaster as far as the way it looks, but as far as going forward, there's definitely lots of positive things happening. Personally, I'd like to see something going back in instead of just taking things out, but it's all part and parcel of the job. So that's where we're at. So today's progress in the head. Started getting everything put in place. So we have to put a bit of a step there because of the curvature of the hull. And I was able to move the head quite far back. Actually, I'm kind of pleased with that. I'm going to glass all that in. So it's going to look like hopefully a nice gel coat finish. Over in this corner, I'm going to kind of along here, end the countertop somehow, maybe round it, not really sure, and put a sink back in that area there. That'll leave a relatively large, open area for the shower, and that's kind of the plan for the head. So some positive stuff going on. Something going back, which is a good thing, a nice thing to see. Seems like thus far everything's been just taking stuff out and not putting anything back, so to see something go back is a good thing. In order to take that compression post out, I'm going to have to get rid of some of that tile at least, and just go from there. So that's the plan for... Okay, so there's all the tile gone in the the Saloon, I thought I was just going to do a smaller mount around the compression post, but seeing as I started it, I figured I may as well go ahead and finish the whole thing in that area. The hatches don't matter so much, I can just replace them with another piece of ply. So that's one task out of the way. Okay, tiles removed. There was a bit of water in the bilge. I cleaned that out, and I removed the manual bilge pump. So that's what we got in there. Let's see if we can have a look. What's going on here? You can see the corrosion that came up in the survey. So that's what the concern was. So the next step will be to remove a small portion of the floor. I want to take this slow and easy, and I'm just going to remove the piece that's behind the compression post for now. And I think that's as far as I'm going to go today. I just want to do an exam of what's down in there, see how bad that post looks like, see if it's going to come out in one piece. I hope it does, because that would make things much easier. So that's the next step, is to just cut out the floor behind the compression post and see what happens from there. So I removed that piece of floor. Now we can get a better look at what's going on with the plate and everything. I just a few seconds ago took a little bit of this. You can see right there that it was kind of some epoxy put over it. I don't think there's any resin, any mat in there. I'm not sure, but it just. So this is one of the plates I'm using to hold position once I've cut the post in half. So in order to put this plate on the post, I'm center punching it. I've already done just two top and bottom ones on this side. That gives me the center. Then I'm taking the drill and putting a pilot hole in. Change bits to the correct size for the top. Then just applying a little bit of oil to the top. There we go. Totally drilled. On there. I got some other holes above it, just right there. Just for pins, with the pins. And so for each side of these half round plates, I'm putting in 4 bolts and 4 pins. There we go, that's 3 done. So things are progressing. Today I've shored up the compression post in preparation for removing it. Tomorrow I'm going to cut it in half and see how easy it is to remove. So I fabricated some pieces for the bottom and top of the temporary compression post, aka jack post, that I bought from Home Depot. So that's the bottom, that's the top, there's the post. So now it's a matter of getting them in there. So unfortunately I forgot to record the actual removal of the compression post. When I cut the post in half between the bolts where the plate was, the lower portion of the post was not actually welded to the plate at the bottom. So I ended up with 3 pieces: the upper portion of the post, bottom portion of the post, and the plate. It was never attached to the plate at the bottom. There's the plate right there. I'm not sure if that's a normal situation. I wouldn't think so, because there was nothing to even hold it in position so it could move up and down and not move fore and aft. So I've got the plate out now. It didn't take much to get it out, which is a good thing. So there's the plate. And here it is. And that's kind of what we're left with. So now it's time to clean that all up, put the temporary jack post in that I got from Home Depot, and then see where we're at. Do a little bit of research on why the bottom of the post isn't welded to the plate, or if it's supposed to be. Anyway, that's the update for now. The temporary compression post is now in place. The old one that was removed, I took to a spar supplier or manufacturer. They looked at it and said the best thing to do was to make it out of a mast extrusion. So that's the plan. They're going to weld a plate to the top of the mast extrusion and to the bottom of the mast extrusion, and then shim up the bottom of the mast extrusion. I have to make some measurements to see how much shim is required, and we'll see if we can get that in with as little shim as possible. I have to do some measurements. He suggested taking a 2x6 and putting it in sort of on end, just to see what the dimensions were that the post, the maximum it could be, and still get it in and then shim underneath it. So that's the plan for all of that. So the compression post project is on hold until that part comes in, which hopefully 2 to 3 weeks. Meanwhile, other projects are ongoing. The V-berth, the head. So that's where we stand on that project for the time being.